All right, joined by Dave Pogue, president of the Peterborough Petes, and there's been a lot going on, a council meeting last night, and some funding requests for your team, and a lot going on, people giving different angles on everything. Just to clarify for some people from Mississauga who might be seeing this from a distance, what exactly is going on? What are these meetings between you and City Council?
Well, how it started is we're looking way down the road. So the whole thing is a proactive approach that maybe has been lost in the translation here over the last few days. I went to council looking at how costs have been escalating in the league, looking at within our own facility agreement, there seems to be some constraints that don't allow us to get past certain revenue ceilings. And just by doing the math, I thought if we don't address this, because we've got 7 years left in our deal, if we don't address this to try to open it up and renegotiate so that we can share in more of the revenue that we're generating in this building, down the road could be an undesirable situation. From that, people have gone directly to the pizza going broke, they're going to have to sell. That's not happening any day soon. But we're trying to be proactive and make sure that we build a strong future for this team. We've been here 61 years. We're going to be here for another 61 years. That's the intention.
And last night, just my interpretation, listening to the council meeting, it was positive coming from everybody. They sounded like they really wanted to get something done. Maybe not exactly what you wanted to hear being presented to you last night, and it's been deferred to a later date. You have a meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock where you're going to open your books to the city. What do you expect to happen in those meetings?
Well, first of all, very encouraged by the what we heard from the councillors last night, the support from the councillors. You're right, we've been working on this now for a number of months, and the last thing I wanted to do was defer. But I would certainly choose to defer so that we can continue to make sure we get the number that we need, than take a smaller amount that's going to force me to go back there a couple of years from now and have to go through this all over again. So that part of it was great. The meeting tomorrow with Councillor Clark, who's the chair of the Budget Committee, and the head of finance, Ms. Clancy, that's something that we initiated. Back in the process earlier in the year, we were asked, at some point you may have to open up the financials so that we can just try to figure out why it is that you need this money and what you might do with it. Are you prepared for that? We said yes. A report that came out from city staff last week had indicated, there was a line there that indicated that we weren't interested in sharing that, and I needed to remind them that we were. So we reached out last week, initiated this meeting. Because of budget deliberations this week, it was put off till tomorrow. But I'm looking forward to it. I think that's just one more step in this whole process.
And a fear of a precedent being set is a lot of what I was hearing last night as well, because what I'm hearing as well is that this is the first time the OHL team has opened their books fully to a city. Now, the precedent of a new deal being done with other teams looking in, other city centers looking in, how much does that impact? How much do you feel it impacts this situation?
I'm not sure from other teams' perspectives it really is affected. I think the precedent that they're worried about is there are some other minor tenants in this building that don't have as many events as us, and I think that what this city staff is concerned about is that those other tenants are going to come in and look for some concessions as well, because I don't know their deals, but as I understand, they're not necessarily happy with them either. In the OHL itself, every team has a facility agreement unless they own their own arena. And it just so happens that every other facility agreement has been updated for one reason or another. Either the team had moved, sold, current agreement had expired and they redone another one. Every team has renegotiated or has a new contract in the 13 years that we've been working on this one.
So this deal was struck when the Petes were in a moment of great success, and it was to urge on the renovation of this building, if I understand that correctly. So a 20-year deal at that time, how does it not apply right now? What's changed so much? I see different rising costs, but what are the real hindrances of that long deal?
Well, just some small, simple changes. Back when this arrangement was made in 2003 in this facility agreement, we had a league where we only had one referee. We have two referees now. That's a little extra added cost every year. That equates to about $8,000 a year for us. Very small. The big one's been the education fund. One of the things we're most proud about in the Ontario Hockey League is we provide, we not only are we feel that we are the #1 junior hockey league in the world and supplier to the NHL, but we have a great education package here that rivals any other, and we're very proud of that. But with that comes a cost, and rising tuition fees, that sort of thing, have changed to the point from 2003 to now, our costs have raised over 300%. And I'm not sure that back in 2003 anyone would have imagined that that would happen. So I don't think it's necessarily the people's fault that put the deal together. There's a lot of costs that exist now. Technology, replays, all these things that never were about then. And I mean, that's just part of the landscape of the Ontario Hockey League. It's a big business now.
Now, when you look at this situation, there are best case scenarios you could paint and worst case scenarios you could paint. For you, what's an example of either?
Well, best case scenario, we go back into the room, we sit down again and try to come up with the amount of relief. Again, this is our money that we're generating for the city. We generate about $1 million a year for them, and we're asking if we can share in some of that back. So best case scenario is we can work out a deal and we're able to receive that relief for the next 7 years in this deal. I guess worst case scenario is we go in and we can't come to that, and when we have to try and delay it again and until we can change their mind. But I'm encouraged by the relationship that we have with city staff, the willingness to participate in negotiations, and certainly, as exemplified last night, the councillors are saying loud and clear, let's get this done. We don't want to jeopardize anything down the road in the future for this city and the Peterborough Petes.
Lastly, in terms of your experience being out in the community, what's your general impression of what people are saying? What are they feeling about this situation for the Petes?
Well, listen, it's not lost on us that we are incumbent to put a better product on the ice. We have not had a championship team here since 2006. We've had some success in the playoffs, but not enough. We haven't had long playoff runs. That is something that we continue to work on every day, and we are excited that we have a better product now, and it's getting better and better. So that's not lost on us. We know that we have to fill this rink and create better entertainment for people. But I think what I'm feeling out and around the public is we've got some support there. I'm not naive enough to think that everyone out there loves hockey, junior hockey, or this building. So some people just might not care, but for the most part, I think people understand we're kind of handcuffed with a deal that's not designed for today's industry. They don't want to see the Petes go. Even if you're not a hockey fan, the Peterborough Petes are an integral fabric of this community. Internationally known, there's nothing bigger known for Peterborough than the Peterborough Petes, not even the Lift Locks. So, I mean, I think everybody wants to see something get done and quite frankly move on to another news story.
The Peterborough Petes, surely a source of pride for everybody in this community, the people on council, yourself, the team, and people from around the area. I'm not from the area, but I've seen it growing up. I see the pride in the Peterborough Petes. Good luck tomorrow, and thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.